Separated by 6,000 miles, these two capital cities face the same issue. So their country decided to shift them. But changing a capital isn't easy. The government can't just pack its bags and leave. There are serious legal, environmental, and political hurdles to overcome. The two shiny capitals, Nusantara in Indonesia and the new administrative capital in Egypt, are a far cry from their predecessors. They are also far away in distance too. Egypt is building one 30 miles east of Cairo in a desert, while Indonesia has chosen an island 870 miles north of Jakarta. The place was practically a jungle when President Joko Widodo visited it in 2019. It's impressive to see how far it has come since. Just a few days ago, Indonesia celebrated its 79th independence in Nusantara. Egypt is also not far behind in this race. A drone tour shows hundreds of buildings neatly divided into districts waiting for the final touch. It's worth mentioning that this isn't the first time a country has shifted its capital. Countries like Pakistan, Brazil, Nigeria, and Kazakhstan have done the same. But unlike these countries who shifted their capital in the past century, Indonesia and Egypt are due to face modern challenges. And even if they overcome all these hurdles, do expensive projects like these suit developing nations like Egypt and Indonesia? In Indonesia's case, the government might have no other option. Jakarta, the current capital, is rapidly sinking at a rate of 1/6 inches per year. This makes it the fastest sinking city in the world, and that's all thanks to its vulnerable position at the mouth of the Java Sea. 13 rivers cut across Jakarta, which empty themselves into the Java Sea. About 40% of Jakarta is already below sea level, and by 2030 it's estimated that most of its parts will be underwater. In 2002, the government built a coastal wall to give locals peace of mind. 5 years later, the wall proved to be of no use. The 2007 floods were the worst in the capital's history. 75% of Jakarta was flooded with $900 million in economic loss. Groundwater extraction is another culprit of the rapidly sinking capital. Only 60% of Jakarta's 11 million population has access to piped water. The rest of the population has to rely on groundwater reserves for survival. With sinking land and rising sea, Jakarta can't be relied on as the country's capital. Nusantara, Indonesia's new capital city, is located on the east coast of the island of Borneo. Borneo Island is the world's third largest island. In fact, the term Nusantara can be roughly translated as the outer islands. Aimed to be the world's first smart forest city, Nusantara will integrate technology with a green environment. It's about 3.5 times of Singapore in terms of size, and 75% of it's going to be a forest. Designed by Urban Plus, the vision is to create a green, walkable metropolis powered by renewable energy. Cars and roads will be a rare sight here. Most of the city will consist of cycling paths, metro, or walkways. It's hard to believe that this place is Indonesia's capital, rather than an exotic vacation spot. Much like the White House in Washington, the presidential palace in Nusantara is going to be a cultural landmark. It's designed in the shape of the Garuda, a mythological bird that is Indonesia's national symbol. The palace is still under construction and far from its vision, but if you look closely, you can almost make out the shape of a bird with wings spread open. Indonesia is also the only South Asian country to be part of the G20. And that's why this country has set some bold aims for the future. One of them is to become the 5th largest economy in the world by 2045, coinciding with its 100th anniversary. In addition, they want to achieve a net zero emission status by 2060. It is hoped that Nusantara will grow the economy by 4 to 5 times and create 4.3 million to 4.8 million jobs in East Kalimantan. Spanning 640,000 acres, the city is divided into several zones, including a main governmental zone and a development zone. Construction will be accomplished in 5 phases, with the first phase to be completed by 2024. In the first phase, 100,000 state employees will relocate to the new capital. By the 5th and final phase, the target population is pegged at 1.7 to 1.9 million. Notice how less it is as compared to Jakarta's 11 million residents. But maybe that was the plan all along, to keep the new capital exclusive and less chaotic. If you liked the video so far, kindly take a moment to subscribe to our channel. We bring the latest news in the construction industry with 2 new videos each week. Enough with promotion, let's get back to the video. Even though Egypt's capital isn't complete yet, it's already breaking records. It features the tallest building in Africa, the iconic tower reaching a height of 400 meters. The total area of the new capital is 170,000 acres, and it is considered one of the largest real estate projects in the country. The largest cathedral in the Middle East is also part of the new capital. Covering an area of 15 acres, the place accommodates 9,000 people. It was inaugurated in 2018 with a midnight mass held by the Christian community. One of the perks of building a city from scratch is that everything is planned before development. The Nusantara is no exception. The land is divided into 13 residential districts along with commercial and administrative centers. One of the spotlights of the city is the financial or business district. This will be the new money-making center with buildings like the stock exchange, central bank, and other international banks. As expected, the place would be home to big international players. Afrex Imbank, a distinguished name in intra-African trade, will be developing their global headquarters here. The district has so far received an investment of $3.4 billion, and that's going to be evident by the amount of retail options at hand. There will be 12 shopping malls, 5 apartment buildings, and 2 hotels in addition to sports clubs, a cultural center, and major hospitals. The iconic towers is built by a Chinese company and features 78 floors. It's designed in the shape of an Egyptian lotus flower and is divided in terms of its functions. The first part houses the headquarters of the central bank and the Egyptian stock exchange. The second part is for residential apartments, while the third part will be dedicated to luxury hotels. One of the selling points of NRC is that it's going to provide greener and healthier living. To deliver on that promise, Egypt is building a mile-long Central Park. It will be twice the size of New York's Central Park and will feature plazas, sports fields, play areas, and open-air restaurants. Looking from above, it looks like a snake. Since it's too long, it can't be encapsulated in a single district. Rather, it will connect all 20 neighborhoods of the new administrative capital, making it an assembly point for everyone. The nucleus of the city is the government district. There are already 48,000 government employees working there, many of whom commute from Eastern Cairo via National Electric train. The district hosts 34 ministries in addition to the parliament and the cabinet building. 95% of the construction in the government district has been completed and the parliament sessions will begin soon. But the truly remarkable development of the district is the Octagon, the defense headquarters of the Egyptian military. Yeah, it does sound similar to the Pentagon in America, but maybe the developers are running out of creativity to name new places? After all, the new administrative capital is just a temporary name for the city until they can come up with a suitable alternative. The Octagon looks like an alien base from a science fiction movie. The 8 outer octagon-shaped buildings represent the 4 branches of the Egyptian defense: Army, Navy, Air Force, and Air Defense Forces. That means that each department gets 2 octagons. In case of an attack, if one building gets struck, the other would be available. The spread-out design is another measure to ensure survivability. Instead of huddling all departments inside one enormous building, each one is independent of the other. This design is different from the Pentagon in the USA, which has 5 concentric rings encircled together. All 5 rings are interconnected to each other with a central plaza. But the stark difference is in the total size of both. The Pentagon is a mere 29 acres, while the Octagon is a staggering 22,000 acres. That's why it's aptly crowned as the largest defense headquarters in the world. Given the magnitude of the complex, it's going to cost anywhere from $50 million to $60 million upon completion. Which one do you think has a better chance of survival in case of an attack? Comment below. NAC is envisioned to be the city of the future. An artificial intelligence system will optimize the use of electricity, gas, and water, as well as waste management. A single mobile app allows the city's inhabitants to make utility payments, access public services, and register complaints. Investments have been made to enhance internet speed by the installation of fiber optic cables and 5G connections. Thousands of surveillance cameras are going to monitor traffic, detect incidents of theft, and trigger automated alarms in emergencies. Life is slowly starting to trickle in the new capital. More than 1,500 families have moved in, And by the end of 2024, this number will rise to 10,000. The city's construction began in 2016, with Hattin 1 out of 4 phases complete. The development is being spearheaded by the Administrative Capital for Urban Development, or ACUD. The company is 51% owned by the military and 49% by the Housing Ministry. No exact date has been given as to when the project will be completed. Building a city from scratch isn't cheap, and that too a capital city. Nusantara is going to cost Indonesia $35 billion, while Egypt's capital is a lot more expensive at $58 billion. One reason for this difference is the capacity of both cities. NAC will host around 6.5 million individuals, while Nusantara's target is just 2 million. The other reason is the grandiosity of NAC's projects. Several skyscrapers, shopping malls, luxury hotels, theme parks, and other multi-million projects, etc., are planned for Egypt's new capital. On the other hand, 75% of Nusantara's will be a forest with a focus on sustainability and clean living. There's one point worth mentioning. Egypt started building NAC in 2016. From there onwards, the project suffered from delays, cost overruns, and the Russia-Ukraine war. All these factors ballooned the project's overall cost. Nusantara's construction started more recently in 2022, and this is just an initial cost estimate, so its cost may go up with revised cost analysts. Now, on the surface, these two cities seem like a huge improvement for both countries. They will attract investment, improve living standards, and all the other basic stuff. But who's going to benefit the most? Egypt is under military rule, and its influence can be seen in all sectors, including the new capital. As mentioned, the city construction is carried out by ACUD, which is 51% owned by the military. ACUD is in charge of selling housing units in the new capital. Moreover, the company is also responsible for selling or operating the buildings in Cairo that will be vacated after agencies, ministries, and embassies move to their new locations. In this way, the military will see huge economic returns for their investment. The case of Indonesia is a little more complex. The country's current president, Joko Widodo, has ruled the country for 10 years after winning 2 back-to-back elections. With his term about to end in October, some see this city as a PR tactic by the departing president. Another point of criticism is the loss of biodiversity due to Nusantara's construction. In 3 years, thousands of acres of land have been cleared, leading to loss of flora and fauna habitats, soil erosion, and pollution. An estimated 20,000 indigenous have to be relocated to develop the future capital. Keeping all this aside, it's way too early to say whether these cities will be a failure or a success. After all, the measure of any city's success is how satisfied its people are. We have seen examples like Myanmar, in which the government spent billions to create a new capital city, Naypyidaw. In the end, it was heavily rejected by the public due to the high cost of living. The city's 20-lane highways, iconic cultural sites, and clean streets are mostly empty, except a few passerbys. Let's hope that this isn't the case for NAC and Nusantara. That's enough from our side. We would like to hear your opinion about these two sites. Comment your thoughts below. Anyway, thanks for watching, and we'll catch up in the next video.